Hey,
You're you're
family.
you're
How
seriously
y'all
breaking
doing,
up.
family? I
You're
got a quick
serious.
question, man. So,
Okay, there you go. There you go. You were breaking up on me seriously bad. So go ahead and fire your question, man. Uh-oh. I think his based on the way his conversation is being broke up, it's not voice chat, it's his internet connection. So he may have to chill for a little bit to let his internet provider get things caught
hello,
up. Oh
hello,
boy,
can you hear me?
are you there, bud? Well, I can hear the first couple of words and then you're dead silent for like 10 seconds. And then I can hear the next couple of words and then you're dead silent for the next 10 seconds. So you may have some internet connection
Can you
issues.
hear me now? Hello.
I just heard you now, but
Oh,
then
okay. So, I got two things. Okay, I'm trying to figure out. Can you put your fig onto a ledger without you having a desktop computer? Is that possible?
if
No.
if you connect it to your phone, but your ledger by itself is not going to communicate to the blockchain. The ledger
No.
has to have an intermediate device, and in many cases, a warm wallet that your ledger can connect to before you're going to be able to do that.
Can I just say something about that?
Go
Actually,
on.
Charlie.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Absolutely.
Actually,
Yeah,
actually, I was going to say, Charlie said if you go to safepal.io, because that's what Charlie's bought, and that you can use on a mobile phone. It's specifically if you want to use it on a mobile phone. That's what Charlie's recommended.
yeah. I was just trying to get another opinion. I actually ordered two of those today, but I was just trying to get another opinion. And I had one more question. There's a gentleman on Twitter right now. He's trying to buy fake uh, through MetaMask, but he's in New York. So for some odd reason, New York is preventing him to have a MetaMask account to buy fig. Do you guys have any other ways of buying fig for a guy that lives in New York?
I know that two people from New York City that I've helped in the semi distant past. The ultimate solution we came up with is by them opening a Coinbase account and thoroughly filling out the KYC, which stands for Know Your Customer Issues. And they were able to purchase FEG. And although you're gonna suffer a 2% burn by sending it off, then they immediately sent that to a trust wallet on their phone, and then they're ready to rock and roll. Because by then you've taken the KYC features out of the New York regulations. Trust Wallet is a multi-chain decentralized wallet, and for all intents and purposes, you can do whatever you want at that point.
So you saying you can buy fig through Coinbase?
That's correct. That's correct. Now
Oh,
No,
you
okay.
no,
can't
no,
you can't you
no.
can't do it in the traditional way. So let me clarify that. Okay, but you can have Coinbase connect to the Fed exchange because the Coinbase will accept that connection, and then you can go ahead and make your purchases through the Fed exchange, and then it will appear on your Coinbase wallet.
No, I think you need to get an Ethereum. So you need to really get Coinbase, not the wallet, but the exchange, the Coinbase company, right? Coinbase.com. You
Yeah,
need to purchase Ethereum from them and then transfer it to um, to your wallet, Coinbase wallet, and then from there you could go to Fig Exchange, swap it out the Ethereum for Fig.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That's a more detailed step by step description of what I was attempting to say. So thank you for offering that input.
sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm going. That sounds a bit confusing because I didn't know I could. I didn't know you could do that. I requested I sent them a link to talk to you guys on here. So hopefully he comes out here and reach out. so we can get some further assistance.
Sure.
Uh,
And if he's reluctant in speaking, he can connect to the main chat, or he can get even more specific information if he will connect into the FEG support chat.
okay, and what's
Because we
is it
tend
a separate?
it's a separate chat group, and since he's going to be dealing with Telegram anyway, on the opening screen of Telegram, this is what I tell people: in the upper right corner, there's a search symbol. If you tap or click on that search symbol and you just type in the letters FEG, that's FEG, and you press enter, the first thing it's going to do is show a long list of all the FEG groups that are associated with Telegram. And it tends to populate that list based on how many people are using that group at any given time. And you'll discover that the main chat typically shows up first. And then you'll find that the support chat's usually 2 or 3 lines down below.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna try to find it so I can send a link to him.
There you
Thank,
go.
thank you, Paul.
You're welcome, bud. You take care now. So, Quentin, can we get back to this mutual Paul Appreciation Day thing we were talking about? Because I was really enjoying that, you know.
I apologize.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, you're definitely the man, Paul. Give me just a minute. I'm trying to pump some gas over here.
No problem. No problem.
Good evening,
Paul, you
Paul.
definitely the man. You have
Well,
that.
thank
You
you.
have that executive voice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I am very clear about where I sit as far as my level of knowledge. My approach is to take the 30,000-foot view because I don't. I'm old enough to the point where I'm not interested in carrying on a single voice conversation in 5 DMs at the same time. That's just not my thing. There's guys like Charlie and K. Crow and the younger crowd. They don't think anything about doing that. So I tend to fly at this 30,000-foot view, looking out my airliner window about the FEG project and how things develop and so forth. But then when people start asking specific details about things like, well, my MetaMask won't do this, and how come I can't connect here, then I tend to go I go looking for Charlie or K Crow or So Late and those guys who offer that more specific question. Especially Charlie. Charlie's amazing because every time he's on voice chat, he's got his phone open and his computer open, and on his computer monitors, he has multiple tabs open that are built into when he opens the screens, and he can just click, 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 and boom, you're done. He's already sent you a DM with the specific answer you're looking for. So collectively, we've got one of the finest collection of voice mods, I think, in all of Telegram. And I'm only being semi boastful about that topic.
Good evening,
So,
Paul.
good evening, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, Paul. How are you?
Good. You're back on, so we can continue our in-depth and stimulating conversation about the mysteries of the universe, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah, I recently
where did we
just
leave off last time?
I just recently got home. I worked all day. We were having a great conversation like yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
I believe it was.
And then some people came in to ask you some bunch of questions because we were talking all the time. So
Right.
we had to make space for them.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately, that's kind of an occupational hazard in this particular voice chat. We, the voice chat mods, are very, very clear that the fundamental number one purpose of this particular voice chat is to answer questions about FEG.
exactly. And I was respecting that, so I was like, okay, I will talk to him in another day.
Yeah. Well, here we are, bud. So let's
So,
and we're not being inundated with questions at the moment. So I think you signed on in just the right time.
oh, that's great to hear. How are you, first of all? How are you doing?
I'm actually doing pretty well, to be honest with you. I didn't get quite as much sleep last night as I would like. And I'll tell a funny story on myself. Somebody was asking a question about the latest F-wrapping feature. And one of the challenges I have is I've developed a bit of a following in dealing with voice chat, so I tend to make sure that I'm in voice chat. And the average person would not know this, but I'm typically in voice chat from 7 in the morning until 6 in the evening, 6 days a week. Well, that seventh day belongs to my wife.
Yeah,
And she, and
I think I did saw you in the morning, like it was morning, like 5 or 6 in the morning at my place, and
yeah, sometimes.
I think I still saw you like in the chat. I was like,
Yeah,
no, I just woke up. Maybe we can talk another time.
yeah. So,
And
so
yeah,
one, one,
also some woman like Crypto Wanderer also did ask you for some volunteering work or
well, she
in
was the
her own
one.
chat, right? For Gold Farm or something. That
Well, she
also
was the
came
one.
up yesterday, right?
Well, she was the one that I wound up passing off bad, bad information. And what I was explaining was, since I'm spending so much time in voice chat, I'm not following up with my studies with respect to the new aspects and the technical details like I used to in weeks previous. So now I'm beginning to catch on to the fact that, okay, maybe I need to alter my hours a little bit. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but alter my hours or figure out some way to squeeze more time into my actual studies of the FEG project so that I don't repeat the major mistake I spat out yesterday. That was kind of embarrassing. Now it was easy to fix because I just sent her a DM saying, I'm sorry. That's not correct. What I just got through telling you, this is actually how it works, you know. But yeah, it can be kind of challenging sometimes. So anyway, pose your
Well,
question
well,
about what you'd like to talk
well,
about.
well. To be honest, I don't really find. I think you shouldn't be find it embarrassing at all because you're getting information and like in and day, and you're also spreading out information. So it's I think it's pretty normal that the human brains get sometimes confused of what it gets and what it puts out, right?
Right,
That's how I'm
right,
thinking it.
right. That's true.
Well, the question I wanted to ask you yesterday is like I had a real good conversation with the guy with Danny. You also know Danny, right?
I don't any well, actually.
And we had a little bit of a discussion about okay, what it's actually have more potential right now to like invest more in fact token itself, or is it also really profitable to just FREP like an Ethereum coin or a Binance coin or I actually want to know your opinion about it because yeah, fetch is all about passive incomes, right?
Right.
And is it not better to like FREP a coin to maximize your passive profits?
Okay. Well, let me offer you my own personal opinion to that.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that we have limited funds. Um, Sooner or later, we run out of money when we want to invest in something, right?
Right.
So we have to take a look at where we are in our investment strategy and the two fundamental issues with respect to investing in pretty much anything having to do with your hard-earned money. And that includes stocks and bonds and annuities, and precious metals, or anything.
Right.
You're constantly balancing between two topics: your aversion to risk, as well as your request to make as much money as you can.
Exactly.
Depending upon each individual's answer to those two questions will guide largely your decision making process. Now, one of the things I like about FEG and the FEG project is there's not as much risk associated with FEG, in my opinion, as you might find even as diverse markets as stocks and bonds. And the reason I say that is because our deflationary, well, I should say hyperdeflationary tokenomics has built in the kind of price pressure that will inevitably increase the price of FEG. So you can simply hang on to your FEG and watch the price a FEG grow, or you can take a portion of your FEG and you can invest it in these other investment opportunities built into the FEG project, depending upon your ultimate goals. Now, a classic example I would make is someone who's in their mid 20s and someone who's in their mid 60s. Okay. That individual that's in their mid 60s may not want to stay glued to their phone or glued to their tube trying to figure out when is the right time I should jump out of this farming strategy and go into that farming strategy, or when should I jump out of the smart swap feature and maybe jump into staking or liquidity pools, or maybe I should start thinking about taking a percentage of whatever and start FWrapping it. Okay, because they're all different reward strategies that's built into the project. That individual that's in their mid 60s may say that, well, that's all well and good back when I was in my 20s or 30s, but nah, I'm not doing that. Okay. I just want to buy FEG. I want to watch my FEG bag increase in size because we're getting the revenues associated with it. And I want to watch the FEG price go up. And that's that. However, the other individual is in his mid 20s. He's typically going, or she, are typically going 3,000 miles an hour with the hair on fire. Okay. They want it all. Not only do they want it all right now. Okay. If they were anything like I was when I was in my 20s, well, they're going to take the time and effort to investigate the various reward strategies built into the FEG ecosystem. And they're going to want to probably buy a larger bag to begin with, if they can. And if they're functioning as a truly rational investor, they're going to want to take that bag, invest it, develop passive income, turn right around and buy more FEG with it. Because as their bag grows, their passive income grows, right? And they may choose any different of the rewards mechanisms built into the FEG project to be able to do that. Now, that decision on which one of those FEG reward systems they're comfortable with is going to depend on their background, their educational level, their understanding of English. Is English a primary language, a secondary, a tertiary language? Their comfort level with the information that's available out here, the comfort level with getting onto voice chat and ask them the latest cutting edge questions. Okay. All those factors are going to lead into each separate investor's decision making process. So I cannot sit here as a voice chat mod and recommend what any one individual should do. All I can do is share my own particular approach to this process as a 68-year-old. And my approach is I'm primarily accumulating FEG. I have already taken half my bag and put it into the staking pool of the exchange. And I'm leaving the other half to accumulate in price based upon these various price swings. Now, the technical analysis group that's part of the FEG community is already saying that, man, is this a good time to, well, maybe about a week ago, is this a good time to be buying FEG because we're expecting another natural price increase. We're not talking about this quintessential pump and dump. We're talking about a natural price increase. Okay. So what did I do? I went out last week, 3 days ago, and I bought 3 trillion more of FEG. How did I do that? Well, a rational investor will always keep a certain amount of what's called gambling money. And this is the kind of money that you throw in the pump and dumps and the crazy things that have come out. And you get in, you get out, you get in, you get out before you get burned. I sold all that so I could buy those 3 trillion of additional FEG. Why? Because I know in my heart of hearts that this latest increase in price is not a pump and dump. And it's not something I have to worry about. It may take a little longer than some of the TAs forecast, but the TAs are very careful about broadcasting that, depending upon their particular analysis. Some TAs will say, well, it's probably going to happen in 2 or 3 days. Other TAs are going to say maybe 4 or 5 days. Maybe some other TAs are going to say maybe a week or so. I don't care. I want to get in when the price is fairly low compared to where I think the price will eventually go. Now, fast forward a week or two from now. So now I've got that 3 trillion that I didn't have before, and it's experienced a respectable gain. What am I going to do with that 3 trillion? Well, I may decide to sell part of it to put back in my gambling money, or by then, some of these reward mechanisms that have come out in the FEG project may become so attractive to me that I may want to invest in those. And here's why. Anytime I mean, they call it gambling money for a reason, right? You go put it in these crazy pump and dumps and oddball things. You could essentially lose your butt. Okay, I'm not going to lose my butt if I put it in any of these reward mechanisms that are built into the Fed project. Why? Because these reward mechanisms have been thoroughly thought out, thoroughly vetted, thoroughly discussed, thoroughly analyzed, and it really depends primarily on the adoption of the FEG exchange. Because pretty much all of the different reward mechanisms using the different percentages you're going to get can be analyzed to one fundamental revenue source, and that is transaction fees. Or what's a transaction? It's anybody that's using our exchange as a swap exchange that's swapping from one token to another. Every time that takes place, you're going to get a transaction fee. And just to give you an idea, about a month and a half ago, Uniswap, one of our illustrious competitors, published data that said that they, at that particular time, they were processing about 100,000 transactions per day. That's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Okay. We
Right.
anticipate with the adoption of our exchange that that transaction rate that they're experiencing is going to translate into a transaction rate somewhat similar to our exchange in the very near future. And then at that point, what happens when our transaction rate increases to 200,000 times a day, or 500,000 times a day, or a
That that
million
that
times a day?
that really would be crazy.
Okay. Those potential rewards that are based on transaction fees, however, they're distributed amongst the various um, reward mechanisms, or I should say reward, um, I'll call it a mechanism, reward mechanisms built into the project, is going to either provide you with a little more or a little less reward over a certain length of time, and the associated risk that comes with it, and the amount of time and effort you have to sit and watch it to make sure that you're making the right decisions. But ultimately, the overall adoption of this exchange is what's going to generate this pretty massive amount of passive income that I, at my current lifestyle, don't need. Okay. I'm getting along fine being poor. Okay. I'm getting along fine buying regular meals and reading the same newspapers everybody else does and watching the same movies everybody else does. I don't have to have that passive income. So what am I going to do with it? I'm going to turn around and buy more FEG with it. And that's going to generate more passive income. And what am I going to do with that? I'm going to turn around and buy more FEG until I finally get to a point where I've got so much FEG that my passive incomes are, to coin a well phrased word, ridiculous. And then at that point, I'll probably start spending some of my passive income.
Well, I think that fact will eventually in the future, and I don't think it will be that long because if you compare Uniswap and PancakeSwap, for example, to Fetch, Fetch does offer so much more utilities because I don't know. I think that the project of Fetch is so much better than Pancake and Uniswap right now, because of the rewards, right? Because and Uniswap and PancakeSwap, as far as I know, they don't give the kind of rewards that Fetch does. Um,
No, they don't.
I'm actually also thinking about. Well, I have some. I also do have a little bit more investment in a DeFi coin that's called Badger DAO, and it's a coin with really good potential. But I am believing in Fetch that Fetch will eventually outgrow that project what where I invested in right now. So
Yeah, yeah. There are any number of other financial vehicles out there. They are legitimate projects, and they provide their own uh, enticements to participate in the project and generate various rewards at different levels. The question I
well,
ask people that are brand new to FEG is, can they compare to this project?
well, um, I think as a real amateur in the crypto coin business, um, Fetch does really give me results. In like 2 days, I already made maybe 20% of my investment what I put it in Fetch, and especially today, I almost made 30% because there was a huge price gain, right? And
Sure.
these kind of results is something that I didn't see for a long, long, long time in any other investments that I did 3 to 4 months ago. So, um, yeah, I believe in this project, and in my opinion, I think that this project will be one of the top coins that eventually, I think also the Fetch will surpass Uni and Pancake Swap because
In,
of the stake
in
rewards and of because of the stake rewards and also of the rewards that you gain by just a simple exchange on the market.
yeah, I can tell you're a somewhat new participant in the FEG project.
Right. I recently just well, to be honest, I was sitting with Danny yesterday and he explained me the project of Fetch.
Uh huh.
And we also did join join the voice call chat, and I actually was already sold out. And I know the marketing of Fetch right now is not really like blowing off, but I know there are some marketing strategies that will be put it out soon. At least that's what I heard. Like I think yesterday that the real owner, like the founder of Fetch, did hire people that have like 10 years plus in marketing experiences. So I believe that, yeah, I don't know. I think that Fetch will be like the best project ever that has um, been put it on in the market. I did also did with I also did some talkings with RTR. I believe that he's a will and he has a lot of experience in
Mm-hmm.
the cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like if someone with so much experience drops like so much money in a project and is so self confident about Fetch, why shouldn't I be joining him? Of course, I did a little bit of research myself with Danny, and I already was sold out when I heard it yesterday, and That's when I decided to like put. I almost have a trillion Fetch right now,
Cool.
and I'm probably thinking of maybe going a little bit more to just going to maybe 2 or 3 trillion.
You bet.
And I think that that investment of now will be so good for the future. And I believe that I had also the conversation with you last night,
Hmm.
and it was your humble opinion. It was your humble opinion that you also told me, like, hey, listen up, keep your fetch coins. That's what my opinion is, and you probably will be a millionaire of the end of 2022.
That's exactly what I said.
Well, if that's the case, I'm going all in. And there is also, I find crypto always a little bit of gambling, because it's actually gambling, to be honest, but in a modern way. At least that's my opinion. And yeah, there's a nice saying: "Get rich or die trying." So that's why exactly what I'm going to do.
I grew up with that saying as well. Yeah.
That's
One of the nice things,
exactly what I'm going to do.
one of the
Right?
nice thing, one of the nice things about me prognosticating where people are going to be and whether they're going to be wealthy or not is I don't have to pull this data, just pluck it out of the air and then make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. This project's already been in existence for 3 months. I know for an absolute fact that we already have at least one full blown millionaire that is now increasing his or her wealth because of his or her continued investments in fact. With the quality and intelligence and experience of our devs, backed up with our quality and intelligence and experience of our um, admin group and our marketing group, and with the possible exception of me, our voice chat mods, this is an exceptionally talented group of people. Now, yes, any investment, even if it's in gold or silver, is a risk. Not to mention the additional layers you add on to when you're talking about stocks, bonds, annuities, and so forth. Okay. Even annuities, it comes as a bit of a shock to people to realize that even that's a risk, because annuities are supposed to be no brainers. Well, that's true until the bank that's backing up that annuity goes bankrupt. And then what are you going to do? So, cryptocurrency, unfortunately, due to the nature of the way the world has developed over the last 30, 40 years, cryptocurrency is still primarily what we call out here in the southwestern part of the United States the wild, wild west. And it's that way for a variety of reasons. So that just means you need to be even more careful about where you invest your hard earned money. But instead of putting your money into a savings account and earning maybe 1 or 2% at the end of the year, or putting your investments in the typical stock portfolio and maybe only earning 10 to 15% by the end of the year, you have the potential to investing that in the correct crypto projects and earning anywhere from, let's say 100% improvement in your investment to
Right.
a 10,000% improvement in your investment over the course of a single year. Now, people are fine when I say 100%, but as soon as I say 10,000%, that's when they look at me like I'm nuts. Okay. Well, earlier in the conversation, I said, I'm not just pulling this data out of thin air. All this data is available for anybody who wants to do the research. All this data is available with respect to the progress of starting with just the major coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance. And then you get to the next layer, the level 2 network layers like Cardano and Polkadot and Fila Network and the old established projects that are still struggling but that are trying to get up and running like Dimecoin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're real. They're still there. They're still working. They're still banging it out with respect to the cryptocurrency market. Okay.
Right.
In your particular case, one of the ways I was getting ready to tease you earlier. So one of the ways I can tell you're new to FEG is you pronounce it FEG instead of FEG. FEG is an acronym or a meme. It stands for Feed Every Gorilla. And in that case, the G is a hard G. So it's actually pronounced FEG, which is kind of fun, bringing in new people because they're not quite sure, particularly if English is not their primary language. But
No, I'm living in the Netherlands.
we here in the voice chat, our primary purpose is to answer questions. And we don't just answer questions when we feel like it. We answer questions because that is our primary purpose. We do it with respect and humility and concern for the audience we deal with. We are painfully aware that we're communicating with the entire world at any given time. There are things like internet lag and language issues and a whole host of things that can complicate this voice chat communication. And the vast majority of those complications can be resolved with two simple applications: patience and professionalism. And that's what I
Right.
like to think we bring to in this voice chat community.
Well, now that you mentioned that, isn't it maybe an idea that Fetch will create like more voice chat calls within maybe different languages, so um, people can like uh, understand it maybe in their own languages. So
Well, funny you should mention that because we have individual voice chat, not, I'm sorry, individual text chats currently active in over 22 different languages thus far.
oh wow, nice.
And if you're a member of the regular FEG token chat group, it won't take too long before you'll see one of our helpful, handy dandy FEG bots spit out a message that lists a lot of the key details of the FEG project. And part of that
Mhm.
is going to be this long list of language communities. Now, we're not as far along in having individual voice chats that are part of those language communities because the process of promoting and developing those language chats is, of course, behind the English chat because that's how we got
Right.
started. Okay. But we are constantly looking for individuals who are willing to participate in those various languages. And most importantly, we're looking for people that are bilingual so that they can interact with the admins and the devs who primarily communicate in English and then be able to communicate that with the native language of that particular language group. So if that's something
Right.
you're interested in helping us with, we'd be more than happy to have you jump on board.
Well, before that, um, I would love to do that for in the Netherlands. Um, but of course, before I will do that, I have to like do more a little bit of research of the fact token,
Sure, sure.
because I, I I have to know what I tell people and stand 100% behind it. I
You
can
bet.
like tell my own. I can of course tell my own vision and how I stand in it, and tell how confident I am with the token itself. But if people ask me a bunch of questions that I don't know yet, it will be like, yeah, you will get like trapped
Oh
in
yeah,
your own questions and in your own conversations that you cannot give them answers proper in a proper way, right?
you bet. You bet.
So
Well,
if I
my recommendation to you, if you'll be kind enough to let me interrupt,
of
is
course.
one of the nice things about the Dutch culture is they're very astute with respect to teaching their children the other languages of the general environment in which they operate, which is primarily Western Europe. Okay. And one of the universal languages spoken throughout Western Europe is English. So the advantage you guys have in the Netherlands is I can send you directly to our main website, which is fegtoken.com. And in the
Yeah.
upper right corner, you have these three horizontal white bars, which is the pull down menu. You can either tap or click that, and it will bring a pull down menu on the left hand side. And about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see this document called FAQ, standing for frequently asked questions. The marvelous thing about this FAQ document, it is a non-technical document. If you want to get into the technical issues about how the project works, you can take a look at our light doc, which is listed further down on the web page. The light doc is not what I'd call for the faint of heart. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you're that way, just stick with the FAQ. I come from a technical background, so I chewed up that light doc like it was going out of style. But that's just me. Okay. For general communication purposes, for the vast majority of future investors, I would point them to that frequently asked question document because
Mm-hmm.
it's just loaded with interesting details about how the project works, how it got started, why it's here. And most importantly, it also has at the very opening of the document a list of all the latest updates. So if you're
I
already
am.
familiar, if you're already
I,
familiar with the document and you want to just zoom into the latest and greatest cool stuff, it'll tell you where those are posted.
I am actually looking at the document right now, and I think it will be a good time to, and also be a real good thing to do a little bit research in this and read myself up in it to
Cool.
exactly understand how the coin works. I actually know a little bit of pretty much how the coin works.
Sure.
But maybe in the future, yeah, sure. If there will be a request about, hey, would you like to host the Dutch community part of the FACT token,
Uh-huh.
I will be all down for that.
Absolutely. We would appreciate it. But I'm a firm one believing in first steps first, right? So you become accustomed to the culture, you become accustomed to the community, and you become accustomed to the project itself, then its potential benefits, and then its theoretical potential pitfalls. And as you go through that typical learning curve, your ability to communicate to your fellow investors, particularly future investors, is going to increase exponentially, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to learn a lot of about this token, and when when I think that I will be ready to put out information about this token, I will send you a message, Paul, for
Very
sure.
good. Absolutely. You can
So,
always DM me anytime you want. You can
thank you.
DM me night and day, and I'm only going to communicate when I'm awake.
Yeah, you of course need a good night's sleep.
That's a running joke amongst us voice mods. We're like, we're available night and day, but we're only going to respond during during the time we're awake. Except RTR.
Yeah,
RTR seems to have this bionic ability to be awake at all times. I don't know how the guy does it. He is like a walking, talking, bionic human feg Wikipedia. The guy is just amazing.
he probably gets awake when, well, what I know for a fact, because I'm living in the Netherlands, right? Um, and when it's morning here, it's evening in America, if I'm right. And if it's like nighttime here, it's morning in America.
Right? That's true.
So, and the I know that Americans are a lot of I mean, they are more into the crypto business. So what lots of people do here around is like they wake up 2, 3 in the night, and they check their coins, how it's going. Is it pumping or not? Should I shower it or not? Should I dump it or not? How's the price going? If it's not going very well, they are just going back to sleep. And I think RTR has the same strategy.
Well, RTR is what I could consider to be a highly sophisticated investor when it comes to investments, period, but cryptocurrency in general. And that's part of the reason why he's such a wonderful wealth when it comes to explaining the details of this particular project, is he can bring his vast experience with other tokens and other not so pleasant experiences with other tokens, and he can compare that to the various wonderful opportunities we've had with FEG, as well as the major reduction in any concerns or fears about being unfriendly surprised.
Well, I did also ask him the question yesterday, if it's matter to invest on the Ethereum side or on the Bitcoin on the Binance side. Well, at least I asked him, like, hey, how did you invest? Did you also do you have both sides? He was like, yeah, I have both sides. Okay. Well, the question I am having about that is, does it really matter to have like invest in the Binance side of um of the Veg token or on the Ethereum side? And what I also did notice about both on the sides, at least, is that on the Ethereum side, people are less dumping than on the Binance side. So I'm actually glad that I am on the Ethereum side, like you, Paul. But um, does that really matter to have it on the both sides?
I'm going to offer an opinion that relates back to a person's tolerance for risk. While the Ethereum side tends to be more stable, that has a downside in that you're not getting as many transactions of FEG on the Ethereum side, which means those of us that are invested in the Ethereum side are not receiving the level of the deflationary rewards that are just streaming into our wallets. On the Binance side, because there are so many, and I mean, there are so many more people invested on the Binance side, and there seems to be more of an adoption feature with respect to the small, tiny investors that are constantly buying and selling and buying and selling. The rewards that are flowing into the people that have FEG on the Binance side is significantly higher than the individuals that are participating in the Ethereum side. Now, having said that, the next question I get is, well, then how come you didn't sell half your FEG and invest in the Binance side? And my answer is, because I'm lazy. I probably should have. Okay. But
Hey, Paul.
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I apologize for everybody listening here. Paul is off his meds. 99% of everything he just said, he doesn't know. He doesn't understand. Right, Paul?
Well, that's good to know, Kakra, because we just got notification from one of the individuals that has set up a streaming YouTube channel, and we are now live. We are now live on YouTube, streaming the voice chat. So that comment, that comment you just made, is now being broadcast to the entire YouTube community, and I can't wait to listen to the feedback we get from that comment.
I'm going to check it out.
Hey, dudes, I wanted
what
to
is
throw
the
something
channel
in there.
It was posted by a gentleman whose Telegram name is Feg News something.
right. Yeah,
Feg Token News.
I am there right now. Yeah, I see it. That's pretty
Okay.
nice.
And you can read the announcement and you can participate thusly.
Hey,
Paul.
I did want to throw something in there real quick. The big thing that I wanted to throw in there is that it steps back just a little bit for information giving to new investors. I think that one very, very popular thing, and this isn't just here, this is a popular tactic used always, is know your competition. So if you can read up and know about who FEG is really going after, the Uniswap, the Pancake Swap, you have a better understanding when they interject or fire back at you on why I wouldn't use something else. For you to just take that and run with it as to why FEG has a utility that is unmatched in other places. So like if you also know your competition, you are able to then build a better argument and be able to give those people the information that will really show them what is the differential maker. And that is a huge selling point.
Exactly.
I agree completely.
I also do agree with that. That's why I just recently just told Paul to, like, hey, if I want to be an admin on the Dutch community side of the Fetch token, I have to do a little bit of research to give people answers to. And the more I know, the more knowledge I consume, the more selling points eventually it has, right? Because knowledge is power, and knowledge is also money.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And one other
So
thing that I wanted to point out to what Paul was saying too about the two different sides is it really speaks to, like he was saying, what kind of investor you are. The two different sides, say that you have a person who's newer in the industry and only has $100 and they want to get invested, and that's all that they have room to play with. If you only have $100, another thing that can be said is that Pancake Swap fees are obviously way cheaper, or the Binance Smart Chain fees, excuse me. And so if you have $100, you're going to take much less of a hit to your portfolio if you buy in on the Binance side. Now, if you're an investor that has 5, 10 grand to be throwing in, then, take your pick and go either way. But for the smaller people and new people coming into this world that don't really have as much money to be throwing around, it only makes sense to start them off on the right foot where they aren't losing a part of their portfolio. Because, we all know that Ether fees are insane. And so if you have $100 and you have to pay $30 to make a transaction, you start at a 30% loss. So it speaks to who the investor is and what their portfolio looks like at the time of investing too.
Well, the gas price of Ethereum is significantly lower than a few months before. I did invest. What I did bought some DeFi coins, and Fetch really was and is the project where I believe in. So what I did was I already had some coins on the DeFi side, on the Ethereum side. So what I did was just swap it, and of course it's gonna take some gas price, like for the transactions fee, but like in the previous months, I think I did maybe I paid transactions fee for like maybe $80 to $100. Now it's like $30. And of course, with the Ethereum gas price, you also have to know when the gas price is low and when the gas price is high. So for example, when you know there is a lot of people trading, like in America, for example, here in the Netherlands, people are mostly trading in the evening because in the morning you just wake up, check your coins, go to work, and then you're in the evening home behind your computer and checking stuff out, right? If you want to invest or not. So what will happen if a lot of people does that and they are ready to trade, the gas price will go up because there's a lot of transactions going on on that timeline. But when it's like not so really busy on the market, the gas price will also like get lower, and your transactions fees will also significantly decrease in it. That's what I at least know about the Ethereum gas price.
Yeah.
And I did swap some. I don't know if you're guys familiar with Saffron Finance or Idle on the DeFi side. I had like $1,000 on the both sides, more or less, and I swapped that, and it was not even 1.01 Ethereum. It was more. It was less. But back in the days, like 4 or 3 months ago, I'm sure that I had to pay more.
Yeah. So two things here that I want to point out. One, you're completely right. When higher transaction fees happen, you're going to see that increase, and it's just because of the Ethereum network. That's where each investor has to do their due diligence to kind of pay attention to those things. But two, with that, like you said, in the Netherlands, you can obviously see a timeline where in the Netherlands or in those time zones, uh, you see a higher increase. You got to remember that the crypto industry is 24 hours and worldwide. So, like you were saying earlier, where people might wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning because that's when America is doing lots of trades, you have to also pay attention to the fact that the large markets in this industry, Asia, the US, other places, you got to pay attention to those timelines too. And that's just part of us as investors being on this cutting edge of crypto that we have to pay attention to. It's just one other thing that we need to do, but it also gives us the upper hand because we're in here learning about it and getting a better understanding of it. And so us being able to have that understanding before being in there or while being in this industry gives you the upper hand to the person that doesn't. And so just like you're saying, and you're doing your research and you're marking those timelines down so you can check it and make sure when they're cheap and when they're expensive. I mean, I remember that too. I remember paying $200 a fee. There was like 3 days there where the fees were like $200 each trade.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you just have to be able to pay attention to that, always monitor that. But it's something that I don't see as a downside. I see it as a upside because we're the people that are here getting the understanding, and there's people that are later to that knowledge than we are, and so we are the front line of this.
Right. Well, I really love to share knowledge about things that I've learned. I'm not so really. I'm not. I always had the knowledge of, okay, there is crypto and there's a market in it, right? Well, 3 4 months ago, when I really stepped in, I only did research on the coins that I invested in. But right now I'm thinking of but right now I'm thinking like, hey, okay, the actually like um the more knowledge you consume about the whole market, the more you learn and know when to act and to do stuff, right? um Coming back to those gas prices, um there are some projects on the market right now that's actually really reducing the gas prices. I heard that the Solano coin is doing that very well for the Ethereum, but I also did notice, at least I also heard that Ethereum 2.0 is coming out next year. And what I think is that that's actually why I think that Ethereum in the market cap is really growing. Like, I haven't seen Ethereum making a pump like this in a few years, but that I think that will be Ethereum's most strongest selling point to get on that 2.0. They will make transactions fees a lot of faster, gas prices much more reduced than I think it already has been. And yeah, that's what I'm thinking of Ethereum.
So, Burkant, were we able to answer most of your questions today?
Sorry, come
Hey
again,
guys,
sir?
and guys,
One moment, Rondo, please. Thank you. Burkant, were we able to answer most of your questions today? Because I would kind of like to open this general voice chat up to anybody else who'd like to voice a question or a concern or offer a solution to one of the major mysteries of the universe.
Well, I have one more question, and I think that the people in the chat right now also want to know, um, how is the marketing going actually right now on the fetch token? Because I know for a fact that there isn't like a big marketing going on right now, but will that happen sooner or later?
The best way I can answer that question is to direct you to the AMAs that have been posted. AMA stands for Ask Me Anything sessions that have been
Right.
conducted here within the voice chat. And there have been, I think, upwards of 3 now AMAs geared to the marketing campaign. I would recommend you go see if you can sift your way through all the all the pinned messages and navigate to those marketing AMAs and start listening to them. And I think you'll find them to be a wealth of information.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you, sir.
Paul, where are those posted? The AMAs?
In the FEG token chat pinned messages.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So at this point, I would like to observe a moment of silence so that we can appreciate the fact that I have this natural ability to kill a conversation and we should adjust accordingly.
Well, Paul, thank you for your time again. It was nice speaking to you again. I hope to catch up to you soon. Take care of
I
yourself.
appreciate very much you participating, Berkant. You're a very thoughtful and intelligent investor. You have posed a lot of questions that any number of these individuals who are currently listening would love to have answered to their own specific questions, but due to shyness or different lifestyle, would prefer not to voice those questions. So I appreciate the last couple of days. It's been really enjoyable, and I look forward to seeing you back.
Thank you, Paul. When I'm also like asking those questions, I also think about the community. Like, hey, what do they want to know? Maybe that's something that they want to know too, like I am. So when I ask questions, I think the community also will be satisfied.
Sure. Also, if you're in the process of engaging with your fellow potential investors and they have
Hmm.
questions that you're not familiar with and you don't have time to get a specific answer through voice chat, just send me a digital message and I'll try and fire off an answer for you.
Okay, thank you for that, Paul. When I have questions, I will do that.
Sir, you take care now.
Take care of you too, sir.
Who would like to step up and ask the next totally salient and interesting and valuable question pertaining to FEG? And if not FEG, can we at least solve one major mystery of the universe today? That's the goal. Who wants to help me out in that regard?
I have a newbie question.
Oh, wait, sir.
Really don't understand what's that wrap thing.
Well, the new wrapping website we have, fegwrap.com, is essentially a brand new investment strategy that people can use for individuals that are part of the Fed community. And I would be the first one to admit to you that I have not actually tried that out myself. So before I start rattling off not particularly helpful data, may I refer you to our frequently asked questions document that can be found on our main website, fegtoken.com. And the reason I say that is I was looking at it late last night in preparation for coming on this morning. But unfortunately, these tired old bones didn't serve me well. And I wound up falling asleep in my old man's chair, thoroughly depressed. But you know what? I think I'll live. And if you could check out that FAQ, I think you'll learn quite a bit, please.
All right, I'll check it, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, who's next? Would like to chime in on their respective FEG experience? Are any of our technical analysis folks in right now that would like to postulate where they think the current price is going to go on FEG, particularly on the Ethereum side, where I have all of my particular tokens, but not necessarily respected there.
Yeah, on the each side, it's very bullish. Actually, it's all uptrend currently. There's no sells. It's for the last 1 or 3 hours. It's very bullish.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Does your chart give you any indication, or does any chart for that matter, give anybody any indication of where the price could eventually level off at?
No, the charts are just readout from the data, right? So it's just the tools around that you could draw and just predict where it goes, but it's all prediction, right? So we can predict exactly the future, but a trend line can tell you where it's going up, but it looks bullish as of now because it did a breakout. They call it as a pattern, right? So it was trending sideways and it broke that currently, so it's trending up in the opposite direction. So
Yeah, that seems to be the general history of this
right,
investment. Is
right,
it gradually goes up and then it just trends sideways for a while, and you have that natural fluctuation between the top and
right,
bottom bar, and then something develops or more people find out about the project, or for whatever reason that there
right.
is an additional um, buying surge, and then voila, now we've got a jump up in price. So very cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Let's just say that Feg will kill 2 zeros. The would that be highly valued in terms of market cap?
When you say that Feg is going to kill 2 zeros, I can honestly tell you that it's only a matter of time before Feg kills 3 zeros. And then a certain time after that, Feg will have killed a total of 4 zeros from now. The trick is trying to figure out when that's going to happen. And the more zeros you want to add to the conversation, the trickier that gets. Okay. So I'm going to back it down to just 2 zeros. I'm of the firm opinion that between now and when the FEG exchange is what I call readily adopted. In other words, it's not universally adopted. Not everybody and their brother is using it on a regular basis, but a respectable percentage of the swap community is using it in combination with our marketing campaign. And I think that will probably take place, say the end of June or July. I think we can reasonably expect an increase in our current investments of FEG by a factor of 10. So 10 times higher than what you currently hold right now. Now, that only takes us to the middle of 2021. What's going to happen between the middle of 2021 and the end of 2021? Well, that's a potential 5 to 6 more months. Our exchange has only been in existence for 3 months. So from my perspective, with further adoption of the exchange, along with all the nifty and cool features that are going to drive more and more people to using our exchange, I think it's a reasonable statement that from June or July to the end of 2021, we could experience another 10x. And as we all know, 10 times 10 is 100. So those who are invested now could reasonably, not guaranteed, I'm not a crystal ball reader, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just expressing my own opinion, but it's what I consider to be an educated opinion, that between now and the end of 2021, we could experience 100 times increase in our current investment. Now, what about 1,000x or 10,000x? Well, will it come? Yes, it will come. Will it happen by the end of 2022 or 2023? That's really, really difficult to say, but it will come. I firmly believe it because our economic design has it built in. Absolutely has it built in. This hyper deflationary economic model we're working is just a matter of time. Once again, in my opinion.
To jump in there, Paul didn't say this is not financial advice. He just said he's not a financial advisor. So if none of this happens, let's just all sue him.
Yeah, we're
Hey,
recording on YouTube also.
hey, Jay, just to let you know that this is evidently the first voice chat that is being simultaneously streamed onto a YouTube channel. So for those who are for those who are used to thumping me in the shins for general purposes, for some laughs, I would like to recommend that we all chill out a little bit till we start getting some feedback from the YouTube community on how they're going to respond to that. Okay?
I'm
But
sorry.
That's okay, bud. I think it's pretty funny myself. I mean, sooner or later, I think people are going to have to understand that although all the investors in this project take this project dead seriously, we also make it a point to not take ourselves particularly seriously because it's a community. It's not a corporate structure. None of us are getting paid. We're all volunteers. We all need to be here
Brother,
and enjoy ourselves and enjoy participating in the project. So it'll be an interesting balance between the two, and we'll find that balance like we always have.
anyone is watching this part on YouTube, feel free to join our Telegram. We're pretty welcoming, so there you have it.
There you go. A little bit of free advertising. Good job, AJ. So how you been, man?
Mr.
What's
Paul.
going on? Oh, hello, Hamas. How are you, sir?
Good, I'm good. Thank you guys. Very well said, and it's a great initiative to start pushing towards YouTube.
I think so too. I think that this is not an accident. This live streaming. This is a direct result of initiatives that have been laid out and fleshed out through our professional level marketing campaign. These are kind of like our first tiptoes into the water, and there are many, many initiatives to come.
But what really separates us from Pancake Swap?
Well, let's take a look at the very obvious. Our developers are creating an exchange that is essentially a one-stop shop. What does that mean? Our developers have created an exchange that deals with the Ethereum blockchain and the Binance blockchain off the same website. Uniswap only deals with Ethereum tokens, and Pancake only deals with Binance tokens. Although I've heard that Uniswap and Pancake are starting to catch on to the fact that there's this exchange called Feg Exchange. So they're rapidly trying to improve their fortunes by investigating that in various forms and fashions. But so far, they've not had quite the level of success. Part of that's because they're dealing with existing code that is part of the open source community. So they can't just jump in there and change a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. It's already part of the open source existing community. Our exchange is written from the ground up, custom coding from the ground up. Our devs can change it anytime they feel like it. Now, they're not going to do that because they have investors that they have to answer to, including the guy in the mirror, because they're all investors as well. And they don't make money unless we make money. And I don't make money unless I put my best foot forward in promoting the project any more than the devs do. Of course, they have way more impact on whether we're going to make money than I do. But having said that, Uniswap and Pancake, in my opinion, are already playing catch up. They're just not advertising it very strongly. But as time moves forward, and we're not talking about years, we're talking about weeks, maybe months. I think Pancake and Uniswap are going to have a really, really big challenge facing them because, as I said a moment ago, our Feg Exchange is essentially a one-stop shop. And although our usability has still taken some thumps in the shin from various individuals, all those thumps in the shin have been noted and are actively being worked on because usability is one of the primary purposes of this exchange being written in the first place. But unfortunately, you can't invent the entire city of Rome all in one day. It's a little by little. And to give you a classic example of that, right now, buying Feg is a two-step process. And I'm going to use myself as an example since I'm on the ETH side. I bought 3 trillion more Feg, 3 days ago. So I had to go round up ETH from my centralized exchange using my fiat currency account. I transferred that ETH over to my Trust wallet. I connected my Trust wallet using the built-in DApp browser to the Feg exchange. And the very first thing I was required to do was convert ETH to this nebulously strange token called FETH. Then I had to repeat the process to convert FETH into Feg. There have been a number of individuals who said that they want to see our exchange at a point where we can just call grandma on the phone and say, okay, grandma, got your computer handy? Do this, do that, do this, do that. Have a nice day. And by the way, enjoy your Feg. We're not quite there yet. However, this technique where you can go directly from ETH to Feg, for example, or BSC, BNB to ETH is already being worked on. And it's called a software router. Now, it's not the router that you see sitting underneath your television system at home, giving you internet access to the world. Okay. This is a software router. That's its term. And it will be able to process that ability directly for individuals that want to utilize that feature. What that's eventually going to look like and how that's eventually going to work, I don't know. But I do know that our devs are probably some of the most talented devs in the world, and they will come up with a system that is going to be easy to use, highly suitable, and pleasing to the vast majority of the users of our exchange. And I want to pat myself on the back yet again for my fantastic ability to kill conversations. But please, somebody come in here and save me so I can stop.
Sorry, on behalf of that guy, thank you. That was a good explanation.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. So who would like to chime in today? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Yeah, I just, I want to say something for the community, FAG community. The community must know that FAG is very strong product. If the community think that they will win money tomorrow, FAG is not for them. But if they believe, I said they believe that in FAG, on team, in the project, just hold. FAG is the future. That's it. That's what. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome, and thank you for offering your opinion. That's very nice to hear. We appreciate it. Who else would like to chime in at this point in time?
Paul, can I ask you a question real quick?
You're not expecting a quick answer, are you?
Yo, Paul, you amaze me, bro.
Or wait, I will try it first and then ask you the question. Be right back.
Go right ahead, bud.
My concern is that there are already a lot of decentralized exchange like Burger Swap, and yeah, there's a lot of competitors around.
Yeah, there are so-called competitors, and they on their main website advertise all of the features of their website for the purpose of promoting their exchange. It's when you start analyzing the details of that exchange, look at the various exchanges that are out there, and look to see what their quality of their FAQ is. How many actual details exist in that FAQ to be able to provide a direct one-to-one comparison to the information located in our FAQ. Look at the potential roadmaps that they are offering compared to where we're offering, and look at the size of their communities compared to the size of our communities. You begin to see the difference between the word compare and the word contrast. And in the general English language, the word compare talks about comparing one apple to the next. The word contrast is used when you want to compare a fine looking apple with a fine looking orange. There are more differences than there are comparisons, hence the word contrast. I think if you get into the depths of these individual quote unquote exchanges and you start looking into the specific details, you begin to notice more contrasts than you do comparisons, in my not so humble opinion.
I would
Good
also
point
like
too.
to,
Thank you, Paul.
I'm sorry, what this is a friendly voice chat mod announcement. Please, only one person speak at a time because I can't understand what you're saying. If you don't do that, thank you very much and have a nice day. Okay, go ahead. I wasn't meant to kill the conversation. I was just trying to be funny. Okay, go ahead and speak, please. Come on, somebody
Hey
speak.
guys, how's it going? Paul, you're doing great, man. You're doing
Thank you,
great.
bud.
How are you?
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
Paul.
Yes, sir.
So um, I just spoke to one of my friend. So a couple of weeks back, my friend he had a car on sale, his McLaren. So he had a buyer, and apparently the buyer is Matt Ryan. I don't know if you know Matt Ryan.
The
He's a
name.
quarterback.
Oh, that Matt Ryan. Yeah, I absolutely know
Yeah,
who that Matt Ryan is.
quarterback
You bet.
for
You bet.
yeah Falcons.
Yeah.
So my friend, he's already I've got him invest into FEG, and he's already an investor. So I told him why. He told me that he's going to sell it to the Matt Ryan, and said, "Yeah, it's a good chance. And why don't you just introduce him to the FEG and probably get him into the FEG, right?" So I think he did speak to him, and he said, "Yeah, he'll also take a look at it." And today he got a text message from him saying how to buy that, right? So my friend called me today and just a few minutes back and asked me, "Is there a document somewhere where we could send him proper steps, right, to
Sure.
how to buy it?" So what is
Sure.
the easiest
The
or simple? Where do I
the
find
the
that?
the main website for our project is
Right.
titled. The URL is fegtoken,
Yeah, I saw that.
FEGTOKEN.com.
Right.
And the advantage in having that token, I'm sorry, that URL, is in the
Mm-hmm.
upper right corner of the main screen are three horizontal white bars. That's the pull down menu. When you either
Right.
tap or click on that,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to bring the actual pull down menu up. And on the left hand side, about 3/4 of the way down, you're going to see an item titled FAQ, frequently asked questions. Okay.
Right.
That's where we want individuals like Matt Ryan to start, because Matt
I
Ryan is a college degree. He has a college degree.
Right.
He's been in the professional football leagues
Right.
for a considerable amount of time. He has generated a respectable income, and I'm
Right.
sure that there are any number of investment opportunities he would be interested in taking a look at.
Right. But I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty, and I've gone through this FAQ. There's no straightforward section where you could buy. It just lists information of different things, but really for how to buy, set up
Okay.
I don't think
Another
they have it.
option, believe it or
Mhm.
not, you may think I'm crazy to do this, but have Matt actually come into the voice chat
Yeah. I that's
and
what I
and
first
and
suggested. That
and
my friend.
yeah, and introduce himself, because
Right.
we had a very well-known rapper come in just
Hmm.
not more than a week or so ago, and both RTR and Charlie literally walked that rapper step by step by step,
Right.
so
Right.
that that rapper could successfully
Yeah.
obtain his FEG. Why? Well,
Mhm.
pure self-interest. We want that rapper to start promoting FEG, and we
Right.
would be absolutely delighted to have Matt Ryan become interested and enamored with FEG, and then start sharing that to all of his buddies.
Right. I mean, I did walk. I mean, I offered him to walk through that, but I think he just wanted to first take a look at the document and see if he can do it. I don't know why, but he wants to try it himself. I think that I wanted to give it something that is simple and straightforward, and it's easy, right? So that's why I
Yeah,
was trying to find which document is that. I
yeah.
think I found something on the links on the some
There,
PDF. This
there
was a good
are,
one.
I was going to say there's
How to,
PDFs listed in the pin messages, and then we have a
right?
separate announcement channel on Telegram that's just simply titled FEG Token, and
Right.
it has a series of announcements. And I'm not always the best one to ask this question, because I tend to fly at around what I call my 30,000 foot view of the world. It'd be nice
No, I
if
agree. I know.
K Crow or Charlie were on right now, because they'd be sending you DMs like crazy. Go here, go there, look at this, look at that. Okay.
I know. I know.
If
So
you're
I agree.
interested in getting that
Mhm.
feedback, can I suggest you look up Charlie as one
Charlie.
of our voice mods, send him a DM, tell him
Right.
that that nasty old Paul pawned me off on you, Charlie, and
Sure.
ask him to send you the specific documents that you like. And the reason I'm picking on Charlie is he's kind of like my compatriot in
I know.
arms. Okay,
Yeah, techie guy.
so
I know. Charlie is
yeah,
good at.
he's an
Yeah.
awesome young man, really is.
Yeah, I've DM'd him before. Let me. I
Yeah.
know. I'm seeing at the document right now. The fact how to.pdf looks straightforward, but I just want to make sure
Well,
there's a simpler version than that, or maybe
the latest version of that document has to do with BSC. I don't know if Matt would be willing to
I don't
participate
know.
on the BSC side
Yeah.
or the Ethereum side. But the advantage in having, as soon as you say Matt Ryan,
Hmm.
Charlie's response is going to be Matt who, because he's from Australia. Okay.
I know. I know.
So, but as soon as you explain him that Matt Ryan is the,
Yeah, I
um,
did actually this morning. In the morning session, he was there. I did mention about this good news. So
yeah,
he did. Yeah, he knew about that. But I told him it's going to be sometime. I didn't expect to be today. So I
oh,
told them it
okay.
was happened 2 weeks back, and I'm expecting something from them to call back. But yeah, it
Yeah.
did happen just a few minutes back.
I mean,
So
the last time I checked, Matt Ryan was the lead quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons,
right, right. Yep.
one of the top tier professional football teams
Number
currently
two.
playing
Yeah.
right now. So
Right.
yeah, that would be kind of fun to have him on board, wouldn't
Yeah, yeah. And also my friend, he just said, even
it?
I'm a 2 mil, I can put in 2 mil and invest more. He's already invested each side, but if he, I think
Cool.
he might get more.
Well, this is a
So
great time to do it, in my opinion. Even though the anticipated rise in the current price of our token has already started, it's rising at a fairly slow rate. That's kind of what we
right.
want.
I
So it's
think
not too late to be jumping in right now, in my opinion.
sure. I think each side might be much simpler route, I'm thinking, because it's straightforward compared to BSE if it's in, especially in US.
Yeah,
Uh,
particularly if you're in the U.S. That's exactly
yes,
right. You don't have to mess
right.
around with Binance garbage that happens.
Yep, yep. That's what I'm trying
Okay.
to. Okay, let me ping Charlie and confirm this is the correct document I should send him.
Sounds good, sir.
Hopefully.
Thanks for the inquiry. We appreciate it.
Sure.
So
I got a question.
fire away, Joseph.
Okay. I was wondering if the FEG develop team and the team itself could consider future-proofing this project, and just to elaborate, because you mentioned about PancakeSwap and Pancake and Uniswap, where they currently they're struggling because now they have to do more development to consider the ETH side and the finance side. So like similar to that effect, like how is FAG future proof for the future?
Okay.
I mean, hindsight is 50-50, but have they done any consideration?
Yeah, there's no particular accident that when people use the phrase hindsight, they call it 2020 hindsight, do they?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Once again, that was just my opinion, and I doubt if you contacted the lead people at Pancake or the lead people at Uniswap, they would agree with me. But let's take a look at our exchange and the fact that it incorporates essentially all the features that Uniswap incorporates and all the features of Pancake. And all those features reside in one fairly simple and straightforward to use exchange. And then on top of that, our devs keep rolling out newer and cooler investment opportunities for people that are using our exchange. Things like staking, adding to liquidity pools, using the smart swap feature, being able to FWrap a variety of different of your favorite coins, and then the 10 other things that they're already working on that haven't even been announced. Okay. The future proof quality of FEG, in my opinion, involves primarily the experience and sophistication and go-get-itness. Can I say that? Is that a word? Go-get-itness of our devs. Okay. And then their relationship with our admins, because the devs can't function as just a collection of devs doing stuff. All right. There are a host of administrative features built into the FEG project that have to be constantly addressed. The devs have to interface between the themselves and the marketing team. The devs have to be able to interface between themselves and the voice chat mods. The devs have to be able to interact with each other. Okay. We have different types of devs with different skill levels assigned to different parts of the project, and they all have to be able to communicate amongst themselves. Okay. Same way with the admins. And it's important to realize, in my opinion, that this is a community-based project. Literally. What is a community? That's a collection of lemonade stands set up throughout the neighborhood. And yet we're looking at an organization that is already at a 20, 30, $40 million market cap. And in my not so humble opinion, we're going to break a billion with a B, $1 billion market cap in the very near future. All done through community effort. Now, if that's not the quintessential definition of experimental, I don't know how you'd beat it. Okay, because that's what it says on the website. The experimental, community-based, deflationary economics of the FEG project. So, in somewhere between the middle of May and the end of May, and it'll probably be better than even chance that it'll bleed over into the first week of June, is the implementation of this thing called a bridge. What is a bridge? I'm not talking the kind of bridge that you drive across to get from one side of a river to another. I'm talking about the opportunity to start swapping tokens on the Ethereum side with tokens on the Binance side. Just